What is up, you beautiful people? This is Gary Horne, and this is the NWA, the show celebrating the past, present, future, history, legacy, and tradition of the greatest pro wrestling entity of all time. We're talking about the National Wrestling Alliance. I'm also joined by my co-host, Mr. William Patrick Corgan.
Oh, okay.
Rob Stinson and Wil Martin. Hey, fellas.
Well, I was like, we got to clean up our act, man. WPC is on with us tonight.
Everybody
like,
settle down. It's not the real Billy Corgan.
It's not
the real.
It's just a puppet.
It's a fake Billy.
Okay.
It's not the real thing. Oh,
Rob, you've got a special guest with you again this week. Who's that with you?
Oh man, that's the first daughter of Bad Street USA, Petra, P.S. Stinson, running the production table again this week. I'm on Daddy Doobie. If she starts singing Escalator from Blippi, just overlook her. She's working the work over here.
Escalator.
Oh, this feels good.
Yeah.
And I want to give a shout out to everybody, especially MDH 8320. Yeah, we're better than Raw. This is it. This is the National Wrestling Alliance, baby.
We're also an hour and a half before Raw, so it's really not an issue.
I'm not sure what John Gott thought was disturbing, but everything here is fine. Thanks, Dead Kobe, Polka Dot Pam, Jedi Warrior Certified's here. James Lawrence is here, Wrestling with the MMA, Willie Bowen. All you people in the chat, thank you so much for being here with us live tonight as we talk about, of course, the National Wrestling Alliance and everything going on in and around the NWA. I hope everybody's feeling good. I'm feeling good. And had some big stuff happen last week on the show and a lot of viewership, so thank you guys for that. Please continue to share, tweet it out, tell people we're here, and make sure you give us a follow too. We're at TIPW Show on all the social medias. This is Pro Wrestling. And let's see, what else? What else am I missing? Anything before we kick off the show?
No, man, it was a big week. I'm excited to get into it. We got a lot to talk about. NWA Powerrr from this past week, NWA USA from this past week. We got new matches to talk about for the upcoming Powerrr trip. It's going to be a loaded show.
News dropping on the daily. Every single day we got new stuff coming out. We got new news. We got a lot to talk about tonight. I do want to warn you guys, evidently, hey, do better beats. Right here, this little wire, see it? Choking hazard. Sorry, Petra.
Is she choking? What happened?
I resuscitated her, but she somehow it wound. Yeah.
Well, all right. I guess with all of that out of the way, we can now jump in and get you guys in the loop. One of the big
Good job, Will. Good job, Will. Sorry.
No, I was going to say one of the big things that's happening in the loop is that we now have music. Apparently, I don't know if you heard that when we came in. Will's just like
hit that beat, Will.
We're trying to
beat real quick.
We're just trying to up our game a little bit here, and make this a cool place to hang out on a Monday night.
Man, hit that. There it is. Go ahead, say your speech there, Will.
Tell the people what you think of Will, Daddy.
Good evening, everyone. This is Papa Will, and you're listening to The Night Drive, live on youtube.com/NWA.
What is that? Oh, Stinson.
That's what's up, man. That's
what?
What's up. I'm like,
you got to spit something. You got to spit something.
Oh, here we go. When I'm alone in my room, sometimes I stare at the wall, and in the back of my mind, I hear my conscience call, telling me, "Come on now, this is my shot." Run the production table. That's what you were hired to do. Run the production table.
Yeah, this is the NWA. We ain't all delay. We try to drop the rhymes, red flags, Olay. I don't know.
What?
Yeah. What?
What?
Gary got bars.
Hold on.
Gary got bars.
I'm fitting to Wikipedia that. That's doggone.
I'm surprised. I was surprised.
Bro, that was dope.
All right.
Oh, certified feeling me. Certified out there.
I knew he would. I knew he'd feel you.
In the club on a Monday. All right. Well, lots happened this week on National Wrestling Alliance television, of course. Hopefully everybody has had a chance to watch NWA Powerrr, NWA USA, just like we mentioned. Lots of good stuff. Let's see. I'm trying to think of where we should even start. How about a big one? We finally got to see, besides in the ring, after last week's Power, where Cardona and Knox with a big win in their triple threat match. Cardona finally went face to face with Trevor Murdoch at what George South called the legendary, what's he call it, Stinson? The legendary desk, the
table. I think he calls it the legendary table.
Okay,
this legendary table, or that? No, it was desk. You're right, desk.
Well, let's talk about the world title situation.
Right,
yeah, it is the podium or the lectern, as you'll be corrected on Twitter if you mention it as a podium. So there is an account that's called I'm a Lectern, and it will drop in and say, no, this is actually a lectern. It's very weird. Anyway, let's check out from Power this week. Trevor Murdoch showed up as Kyle Davis attempted to interview Mike Knox and Matt Cardona.
The NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. Since you've been here, Matt, you have said you're here to help me. You're here to help the NWA.
That's why we're here.
To you, those are just 3 letters. But you don't understand. You don't care about the NWA. You sure as hell don't care about me. You see, when I see the NWA, I see Harley Race. I see Ric Flair. I see Starrcade. I see Crockett Cup. I see 73 years of blood, sweat, and tears. You come out here and say that we need pyro, we need music. We don't need none of your shit, that's for sure. I'm going to tell you exactly what we do here. All you need is a ring and 2 grown-ass men that's got a set of balls, and obviously one of the 2 doesn't. I've done nothing but stand in here and represent this company, and every Tom, Dick, and Harry's tried to slide in and take my spot, including you 2 knuckleheads. Matt Cardona, I want you in the ring. I want to fight you. And if you got a hair on it, sunshine, you'll put your tights on and step into the ring and fight me like a grown-ass man.
First of all, it's Matt Cardona. It's Matt Cardona. I know you grew up in a farm. You're a hillbilly. You can't pronounce it. I understand. I won't blame you for that. But if you want to get your hands on me, you got to go through Big Mike first. And listen. Last time it was the Atlanta screw job, right? So why don't we have you versus Big Mike and put that title on the line? How about that? Huh? How about that?
That's what I've got to do to get to you. Then I'll go through you again.
We got to take a break.
So that was a big deal, right? The Trevor Murdoch and Matt Cardona face to face, and Matt Cardona, I know I've turned into like I'm anonymous again or something. I don't know what happened there. So anyway,
V for Vendetta, man. He's like right here, man.
I should get the anonymous mask. Anyway, so the thing I'm trying to say is here, basically, Trevor Murdoch and Matt Cardona are definitely on a collision course. And right here, thought for a second we were going to finally get a chance to sign, seal, and deliver that matchup. Trevor Murdoch and Matt Cardona, or Matt Cardona, depending on who you ask. But Matt Cardona is saying that he's not going to face Trevor unless he can get through Mike Knox again, because Trevor, of course, at Hard Times 2 did defeat Mike Knox, got him pinned 1, 2, 3, but he's going to have to do it one more time. Can he do it? That's going to be the question. Will, how you feeling about that?
Yeah, I don't know what the Atlanta screw job is referring to. To me, it seemed like a pretty straightforward match. There was a lot of extracurricular activity after the match, which included, Pope getting injured, and a lot of things going on there. But I mean, from where I was sitting, Trevor Murdoch's already gone through Mike Knox. I don't know why he's got to do that again. So, Matt Cardona is a smart guy. I'll give him that. But I don't know about giving Trevor all these hoops to jump through and all this. I mean, Trevor went out there and called him out like a man, and did things the way we do it in the NWA, which is call somebody out and let's get in the ring and settle it. And Matt Cardona, I think, in my opinion, said a lot about how he feels about it by not just immediately saying, okay, let's do it, by creating some barriers. Who's he to create barriers? Trevor's the world's champion. Trevor's the guy. He's at the top of the mountain. And he shouldn't be the one having to jump through hoops to fight whoever he wants to fight. It's ridiculous.
But that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, man, you got to give it to Cardona. First of all, he's already indicated that he reveres the NWA. When he picked up that 10 pounds of gold to see if it really weighed 10 pounds, and he anticipated or dreamt right there in the middle of that ring at Hard Times 2 about what it would be like to have that around his waist. We all know that the things he's saying is pure manipulation. Master chess player right here. And Trevor Murdoch, who, by the way, I must say, gave one of the most inspiring speeches I've ever seen him give. I like that. I like that killer instinct. But Trevor, you got to smarten up, man. You kidding me? You don't go through him to get to him. You don't have to get to anybody. You are the world's heavyweight champion. You didn't see Nick Aldis trying to get to anybody. They got to come to you. You set the terms. How are you in the throne? You sit on the throne. The crown is on your head. You are the statesman. You are the head of state of the greatest wrestling entity in the history of the world. You hold the one ring that rules them all. You hold the greatest prize in the history of the sport. How are you letting Cardona? By the way, my wife is making tortilla. What's it called? Fettuccine. Anyway,
there's a lot of different dishes you just
with the anyway. How do you let Cardona set the terms? I gotta say this to me is showing me a lot about both of these. Like I'm seeing right, exactly. Trevor, you are at the top of your game, man. You don't have to prove nothing to anybody. You did it. You beat the hardest man in the world to beat, and that's Nick Aldis. You did it. I saw that. I was the first man to shake your hand after that happened. You should not let anybody come and set and dictate the terms. They don't come. You don't come after nobody. They chase you. You set the conditions. You sign the contracts. You determine who's the next that's going to get a shot at the crown. But right now, that's what I'm talking. This is what you've always done, Trevor. You let your emotions get the better of you, and you fell into the trap. And that is why Matt Cardona, not Cardonia, Matt Cardona is one of the great chess players in the game right now. This guy's got over 2.0 followers on MySpace, on LinkedIn, on all the other social medias, whatever they are. He knows what he's doing, and you're falling right into the trap. You need to listen to us. Stop playing the fool's game. You are the king of this business. Act like it.
Well, besides people in the chat criticizing your wife's cooking right now, Doc, I got to point out that Scott in the chat did mention Cardona sets the terms because he's under Murdoch's skin, which brings up an interesting point in the case that Murdoch wants Cardona because, at the end of Hard Times 2, we saw Cardona holding up that title. Cardona comes out week after week, mouthing off, saying all these things about the NWA, insulting everything. So if the only way that Murdoch can get him in the ring, like Murdoch has a debt to settle with Cardona, it seems like he wants to, he's out for blood. He's going after it because he wants to prove what the NWA stands for. He feels like him and the brand that he represents as the world champion has been slighted. If this is what he has to do to get that guy in the ring, then it feels like that makes a little sense, doesn't it?
Well, and I think too, and Doc, we talk about it all the time. Where we all stand when it comes to Nick Aldis and his championship reign, nothing but respect. Potentially the longest reigning champion of our lifetime. It's one of those things where, you're comparing apples to oranges here. If you expect Trevor Murdoch to become the world's champion and then start conducting himself like Nick Aldis, I just don't think that's going to happen. So when you get in a situation like this, I think Trevor's guiding light and the, where he sets his sails is as a fighter. He's been a fighter his whole career, and that's how he got to where he is now. And so, I don't think he comes at it from a place of entitlement, even though he should. I agree. He should embrace, being at the mountaintop and setting his own terms. But at this point, he's seeing red and he's looking across the podium and he's seeing two guys that have massively disrespected him, have massively disrespected the National Wrestling Alliance by showing up and some of the things they've said. And he's just out for blood. And I think in his mind, he'll go through whoever he needs to go through to settle the score. So I think that's where he's coming from.
Now, God forbid he be massively entitled. I mean, he's got the title. He is entitled.
I agree. You have
to act the role of the champion, and you're not a barroom brawler anymore. Now you've got the title and you've got responsibility. And there are contenders. There's Tyrus. There is Chris Adonis. There are other players. And don't get me wrong, Matt Cardona, a win against a big win, but you let him set the terms. You set the terms. And I'm not asking him to be like Nick Aldis, except in this respect. Nick Aldis revered this role. He respected this role. He embraced this role and he managed it well. And if you want to be a champion with some longevity, you better at least absorb that part of Nick Aldis.
I guess where I'm coming from here is this thing with like what Patrick is saying in the chat right now. Cardona should have to beat a ranked contender to get a shot at Murdoch. Murdoch should not have to beat Knox again to get to Cardona. That's my point.
That's my point.
I get that that's everybody's point. But my thing is Murdoch wants Cardona. I think it's pretty clear at this point, Cardona doesn't want Murdoch. Cardona wants to continue blabbing on. To me, Cardona's out there and he has no intention of stepping in the ring with Trevor Murdoch. He just wants to hang out on the sidelines and criticize the brand and the champion.
I think Matt Cardona wants entrance music. I think he wants a shot at the title. He did not seem too keen on stepping in the ring one-on-one with Trevor Murdoch, the current holder of that title.
Because he's a chess player. He's playing the long game. Long game.
That's totally fine. But I'm just saying he seems more keen on getting entrance music in the NWA than getting a title shot. Just based on what he's been saying.
This is the greatest mental manipulation I've seen since the doggone Black Scorpion tortured Sting. And that's what's going on right now.
Interesting. I mean, so you think that Cardona should just continue blabbing and like I don't understand. I mean, what would be the play here?
I think Cardona is setting the conditions for this. Let me tell you right now. I'll tell you, Murdoch Cardona. That's a prize fight. That is a fight that I would pay to go to the MGM Grand in whatever doggone in Las Vegas or whatever to see. I would pay to see it. Under the right under any conditions, really. I'm just trying to think here. Like, it just frustrates me to see Trevor not act the part of the head of state, not act the part of the champion. Trevor, you are in control. You control things. That's what frustrates me. You guys know me. Look, I've got my opinions, but I've always called it straight. And at the end of the day, what is the integrity of this championship? Who defended it with integrity? Nick Aldis did. He defended it with integrity. And part of defending it with integrity doesn't mean just, being noble and being, giving the speech when there's crisis. It means you protect this championship and you defend it to the worthy. Is Cardona worthy? I think he's worthy, but it doesn't matter you still got to go and you still got to work your way up the ranks. There is a pecking order in the NWA. You've got some of the greatest talent in the world. I'm talking about people like Tyrus. I'm talking about people like Jordan Clearwater, Marshe Rocket. You got Chris Adonis. You got Crimson. You got Jack Stain. You got all these people that have these golden tickets they won from the Conspiracy Series. You just can't wake up one day and decide, I'm a bad man. I'm going to come in here and say bad things. But see, that's the thing. Cardona knows that. He knows that what you said, Gary, Will, he's a fighter. All I got to do is get under his skin and I get a shot. That's all I got to do. And I'm going to soften him up by throwing knocks against him a couple times, do this, do that, get into his headspace, manipulate him like the Black Scorpion did to Sting. That's exactly what's going on right here. And I'm just saying, if you want this champion, if you want to be a championship with some real longevity, if you want to have this historic reign like Aldis had, like so many others in the past had, you have got to smarten up. And I'm not trying to talk business talk. I'm talking about you are in control and act like it. It's your championship. You earned it. You beat the hardest man in the world to beat. You don't just give a shot to anybody because they woke up one day and decided, I'm going to come in and make a statement. That's all I'm saying.
On the flip side of that, though, is it part of being the head of state and the representative for the National Wrestling Alliance, the top guy on the totem pole? When somebody just walks in off the street and starts slandering the brand, isn't it your duty to step up and be like, everything you're saying is false?
It's WPC's duty to lock them out. It's WPC's duty to do that. It's Trevor Murdoch's duty to defend to the.
So now you're promoting WPC standing in and in-ring business. Like,
no, I'm not. I'm just saying
he's already said his piece. He's made it clear that he's not going to interfere and let personal stuff get involved in this. And these guys have shown up and they want to fight and they want to be a part of the NWA, and he's going to allow that, despite what the fans think about their conduct and things like that. So I mean, I get what you're saying, and again, like, to me, this goes back to, you're talking about different styles of champions, and to play devil's advocate a little bit, Trevor Murdoch is at the top of the mountain, and yeah, he can set the tone, and maybe right now the tone he wants is to just wipe the floor with Mike Knox and Matt Cardona, and that's what he's trying to make happen. And I mean, if they want to set the terms, I mean, that is what it is, but it's his prerogative whether he wants to accept it or not. And he's the champ. And if he thinks, hey, I'll go through Mike Knox again to get a chance at Cardona, then all power to him. If he's the champ and he's at the top of the mountain and he's got the ability, then go for it. Show these guys what the NWA is all about.
Cardona is the puppet master. All I'm going to say, and I know we've got other things to talk about, is that Cardona is playing the game like a world champion and Trevor is not. That's all I'm saying. Well,
one of them's got the belt and one of them doesn't.
So,
because you're right.
Yeah, I mean, it got him.
There's chronology there. We got to talk.
It got Trevor this far. So I mean,
all right, we'll drop that beat one more time. Drop that beat one more time. Let's get back in the circle. Let's spin a little bit.
Hey, we're all good. We're all good.
All right. So, I mean, a lot happened on NWA Power we can talk about. I mean, Hawks Aerie with a big win over Idolmania Sports Management in conjunction with Church's Money Enterprises. Not to slander them completely. And Marche Rocket last week, or the week before, I mean, on NWA USA with a big win over Crimson. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. But I guess just Maddie Rinkowski made her NWA Power debut. I don't know why my camera's not working properly. I'm sorry. And also, so Melina with a big win over her in her debut matchup. And then, of course, we had Camille facing off with Kiera Hogan and Tara Terrell getting her girls back together, Pale Blaze and Genocide. Just curious what you guys thought about the show, or any highlight moments you wanted to mention.
Thought it was great, man. I love seeing Maddie Rinkowski. I love seeing her power debut, and who better to debut in a match with other than the living legend Melina. So that was a great match to see. Obviously Hawks Aerie, I mean, as a tag team fan, that is always a treat anytime I get to see those guys in a match. So yeah, it was an action-packed episode. It was great. A lot of stuff going on. I mean, Kiera Hogan and Camille stick out in my mind. That little confrontation. Kiera Hogan's very, very hungry, as she should be. She's got all the potential in the world, and Camille seems unimpressed, as Camille normally does. But at this point where we're sitting, there's a title shot there. Kiera is the number one contender, so at some point we're going to see them get in the ring together, and it's not just going to be talking. So looking forward to that.
Man, a bunch of highlights on it. Great, what a great episode of Power, man. You can see Allison Kay and Kylie Ray go at it, man, in a great match, right? No doubt. Maddie Rinkowski is someone that we know, we've seen, we've been following. Great to see her in the NWA ring, and again, making your NWA debut against Melina. You've got to have, you got to understand that you're going against one of the all-time greats, and I don't think that the outcome was in question at all, but it's great. Maddie did a great job. It's a fantastic match and fantastic show, and I hope to see much more of her. I got to talk about the Dirty Sexy Boys, man. Dirty Dango.
Let's get weird.
Yeah, let's get weird, man. They continue to intrigue me. I like how Dirty Dango refers to the ill-begotten as the ill-forgotten, and the rude dudes as the rude boys. Funny stuff, man. You know, their interaction, their dynamic is something that seems to be catching on with the fans. Let's see if ultimately that translates into wins, because I don't know about you guys, but when I see the Dirty Sexy Boys, I don't know what it is, man, but I see a big time tag team that's circulating amongst maybe the best tag team division in the world today. Isn't that right? The best tag team division in the world of any promotion. And I think they're right up there. And they go in there, they take the loss against the quote unquote the ill-begotten. It ended up being the Fixers that were stepping in as substitutes, paid substitutes, and they got the win. That was a big highlight for me. What a great episode! But again, Hawks Airy there at the end with Clearwater and Rockin' in that match. And then we had that breaking news at the end with Trevor Murdoch and Mike Knox. Just a stacked episode. Lots going on. We did get to hear a little bit from La Rebellion. Again, reiterating the point that they are the greatest tag team, not today, but the greatest tag team in the history of the world. And you know why they are? Because the trophy that they hold right now says that at this moment, they're the greatest tag team in history. I like that attitude.
Yeah, I'll jump into talking about the Dirty Sexy Boys. I'm with you as a tag team guy. When I look at these guys, I mean, there's so much depth there. And it's weird to say about a team called the Dirty Sexy Boys. But when you look at their in-ring ability, I mean, you got a guy like JTG who's accomplished all over. You've got a guy like Dirty Dango who's accomplished all over. And these guys joining forces, it may seem like a really random pairing. And then couple that with, you know, just their overall demeanor, their desire to just have fun with everything and get weird with it. And I see a tag team that could potentially go places, especially here in the NWA. So it's really intriguing to see them every week.
Well, and all of this, you of course saw it on YouTube on Powerrr on Friday nights at 6:05. You can catch it there. But if you haven't already, you should really sign up for NWA All Access, which is available at one low annual price. You could pay for it monthly, but that annual subscription gets you Powerrr a few days earlier. Every Tuesday, you get the first run if you want to see it first, which means tomorrow night, a new episode of Powerrr drops, and that's going to be awesome. I cannot wait to see what happens next. And if you want to be a part of that and join us, you got to sign up for NWA All Access with Crockett Cup coming up and everything. There's going to be 6 pay-per-views throughout the year. You can get all of those as part of that All Access subscription. If you're not aware of All Access, well, you should be. Here you go.
The landscape of professional wrestling is changing, and we strive to be at the forefront of that change. Introducing NWA All Access, a brand new service from the National Wrestling Alliance and Fight. For an annual subscription of just $49.99 a year, you'll gain access to every NWA pay-per-view, early access to NWA Powerrr, NWA USA, and special Fight exclusive content. To subscribe, visit fight.tv today. That's FITE.tv. Why bother with monthly subscriptions when 1 year does it all?
I know Godzilla's going to be there. See you tomorrow on Powerrr. Yeah, that's going to be a big Powerrr. Actually, I think tomorrow
Power Surge. Yeah.
Yeah, we're up for a Power Surge. Go ahead.
I think what I meant to say on the next Powerrr, that is going to be the main event. But I think tomorrow night is a Power Surge, if I'm not mistaken. Gary, you know more than I do.
Clearly,
just
but
in general, got him.
Oh God!
Dang it! I hate falling. Hit the music wheel. Just bring us back around.
I'm just saying, I'm shaped like a rocket ship, and I'm firing down the tube of truth right at Rob Stinson's face. It just, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.
I don't either.
All right. Well,
it's got weird.
No, it is.
It got dirty. DSB here.
Yeah, let's get weird. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is tomorrow is a Power Surge. Doc is right, and I don't think I've gotten any graphics yet, but I can tell you one thing that's going to happen on that Power Surge that you do want to check out. If you love Maddie Rinkowski, she's coming back on Power Surge, and she's going to be taking on Smiley Kylie Ray. And wow. I have
two of my favorites.
I saw that match live, and it is awesome. So you want to be sure to check out Power Surge. There's going to be a lot of other stuff going on that episode, obviously, but that one is worth tuning in for alone. Sign up for All Access. You can see it first. And we'll see you there in the chat. I know Godzilla's in that fight chat all the time. All right. Another thing that I thought was cool from Powerrr that's going to lead into something else is that Rodney Mack was on Powerrr, smack Jack State right in the face, right? Like Rodney Mack getting fired up and showing up and showing out. He's looking good, man. I think he's actually in a match on Powerrr Surge, if I'm not mistaken. But how about Rodney Mack? I love that guy.
That's the dude, you don't want to mess with that guy. I'm gonna tell you right now. That's me. I tried to talk to him. That Joker is intimidating. Now he's real. He ain't like, he's not a bully or anything, but he calls a spade, and he took absolute exception to what Jack Stain said. Took that as a personal insult against his lovely, legendary wife, Jazz. And I never seen anybody manhandle Jack Stain like he did.
Yeah.
Ran him off.
I've also don't know that I've ever seen Jack Stain. I won't say cower because he didn't necessarily, but I mean, the look on his face, when he saw Rodney Mack and realized, put two and two together, what I just said, that's her husband. This is not a good situation. That was a little alarming too. But yeah, Rodney Mack, I mean, with good reason. I mean, Jack Stain came out and was venting a little bit and went a little too far, talking about, the NWA just honoring any old legend, and that's not the case with Jazz. Jazz is a true legend, and her husband just happened to be listening and took exception to that. So, yeah, that was rough.
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting situation. A lot of people with Jack Stain on the mind. I do want to answer this question from James Lawrence real quick, because I see this one all the time. James, that all access subscription, just to answer for anybody watching right now who doesn't know, if you're already subscribed month to month, what you end up having to do is on Fight, there's a section of manage your subscription. Just go up there and hit cancel your subscription, and once that month runs out that you've paid for already, and you shouldn't miss anything. Once it runs out and expires, you'll get the option to sign up for the annual, and you have to change it there. Otherwise, it'll keep you on that month-to-month subscription. So we have seen that come up. We got with the folks with Fight, and that is what they're saying. I saw you trying to answer that, John, in there. And so thank you for that. But yeah, that's what you have to do, James. We're having to do it ourselves. You just ride out that monthly and sign up for the yearly once that expires. Right after the Jack Stain Rodney Mack situation, you had Crimson, sitting right out there as well. And Crimson had a lot on his mind. Go ahead, Doc.
I was just going to say, I got to say that I don't think that Jack Stain was necessarily disrespecting Jazz. I don't think he was disrespecting the legends. I think that what he took exception to was that his name was not mentioned among the legends, and he is a legend. Jack Stain is a living legend. He's held the national championship, the world's heavyweight championship. So I got to say that, Rodney Mack, I understand you defend your wife. I do it all the time because my wife runs that mouth, and I got to step in and, push the crowd like, hey, she didn't mean that. You know what I'm saying? So I get that, but I don't think that was Jack Stain's intent. I don't think his intent was to disrespect Jazz or Medusa or anybody else who was honored at Empower or Hard Times or whatever. I think he was just simply trying to assert the point, which I think is a legitimate point to make, and that is, look, here I am. While we're recognizing legends, you got one here. No one ever says anything about Jack Stain. Let's not neglect the fact that I'm a former national champion, former North American champion, former NWA World Tag Team Champion, former NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. Let's not neglect any of that. That's all I'm saying. So, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I suppose you could say that. And James, I see your question about you were still having trouble. You may have to email Fight Support or hit them up on social media and ask them about that if it's just not working for you. But that's what they're telling us you have to do is once your month expires. All right. So the other thing I wanted to miss, so let's talk a little bit about this because I've got some kind of breaking news here too I want to get to. And obviously we got a big event coming up with Power Trip and everything, and that's put on in conjunction with the NWA and Tried and True, which is Anthony Mayweather's promotion. And you want to talk about somebody who's had quite a couple of weeks is Anthony Mayweather. That guy, he is dealing with some stuff. I'm trying to think of a better way to put it without insulting the guy, and I'm not trying to, but he's just not coming up on the positive side of things in a lot of his interactions here recently. He did have that match with Mims. The last event in Oak Grove, he, of course, faced Jack Stane in a cage. That did not go his way. He comes back here, and he's got Jack Stane still tormenting him. He gets in a match with Mims. Mims tries to lay down for him and ends up getting him in there to get a match with Jack Stane. And so Anthony's ready to take on Jack Stane. But then this week on NWA Powerrr, it doesn't seem like that's going to be what happens. We'll just take a look.
And now Mims hasn't been the same. All in his head about it. Yet another mess that Jack Stane creates, I have to clean up. Where is Jack Stane, though, Kyle? Because he can't keep walking around here unchecked.
Pardon me. Who are you?
Who am I? Excuse me. Are you Anthony Mayweather? The Anthony Mayweather?
Yeah, little buddy, now's not the time.
Like the one that attacked Jack Stane, Anthony Mayweather.
Yeah, he won. Yeah.
I'd never, ever do this. Would you mind if I just got a quick selfie? Just
Sir,
real
we're
quick.
filming a television program right now.
Carl, excuse me. And get in there. 1, 2, 3, big smiles. You've been served.
He sent a lawyer.
You talk. Hold on. This guy don't look like a lawyer, Kyle. Come on, read that, man. Read it. You gotta.
It even says legal document. I, Christopher Lawrence Larry, legal counsel for Mr. Jack Stane, hereby serve and notify Mr. Anthony Mayweather a restraining order per the 10th District Circuit Court. This order of protection is hereby granted, and to that you must refrain from being in the presence of and not limited to less than 1 mile of Mr. Dane. They work together. Nor may you contact him or utter his name in any way, lest you face felony, libel, and slander laws. Signed, the Honorable Reginald N. Jackson. This is legit.
100%. Res ipso locator, Mayweather. Look it up. It means he's been served.
Typical Jack Stane bullshit, man. It never ends. It never ends.
Well, that is something that happened on Powerrr, so that was a big deal. And then to top off everything, last week, not this past week, but the week before, Anthony Mayweather had a huge match against Marshe Rockett. You had Strictly Business walking around the ringside. We talked all about this. He ends up dropping that win, or dropping a loss to Marshe Rockett. I see you shaking your head, Doc, but it is what it is. This is Black G's.
I took 6 years of Latin. I almost speak it fluently, and I'm like, that's not what res ipsa locator says.
Wow.
Well, you just
res ipsa,
Chris.
It literally means things speak for themselves, or things speak for itself. In other words, the plaintiff has to prove the point that damage was done. But I like the attempt. I like this lawyer. He obviously knows his craft. And, you know, now we are Crimson. You can't, not only can you not be within a mile of him, you can't speak his name. Get your name out his mouth.
So I guess where I was going with that is just the Crimson, you know, he's had a rough go of it. He takes the L to Marshe Rockett. And then you fast forward past all of this. He can't even get his hands on Jack Stane. And then he go into NWA USA this Saturday. And Crimson's back there again. But this time he's called out by his best friend, Nick Aldis. Take a look at that.
You and I have been friends for over a decade, okay? Our kids are friends with one another. Our families eat together. We've been in the trenches, figuratively, in this business together. You are one of the toughest son of a bitches I've ever known in this business. And let me apologize for using the phrase "in the trenches" because it's a little bit disrespectful to someone who has legitimately served in the trenches for the United States. But you need to hear this from me. Get your head in the game. You just took Jack Stane to the limit. You just asked over and over and over again to be given an opportunity here in the NWA to prove yourself, and you've been doing it. And then I'm sitting there and I'm watching the monitor and I'm watching you lose to a ham sandwich like that, falling to 101 stuff like that. It's time to get your head in the game. It's time to get serious about this, because friends or no friends, there is no place in the NWA for people who cannot close. So, from here on out, I don't ever want to see what I saw from you ever again. ABC, always be closing, because this is the NWA, and you have to win to survive.
So a big deal there for, I know, you see it there, Cap's talking about Nick Aldis spitting fire in this interview. Mayweather, get your head in the game. Doc, I see you getting fired up. Like, how are you feeling after seeing something like that?
This is why, man, this is like what tortures me about Nick Aldis, man. The man always says the perfect thing, man. Channeling. One of the great moments in cinematic history. This is how cultured Nick Aldis is. ABC, always be closing. And you know what? That is exactly what Anthony Mayweather needs to hear right now to get himself back on track to be what we all know he can be, and that is an elite athlete. Someone who should not be in the junior heavyweight title discussion, the TV title discussion, the national title discussion, and no, not disparaging any of those. This is a man who should be in the world's or world tag team title discussion every day. So I love this speech. I think it was well needed. I like it. Well done, Nick. You needed to hear it. Anthony Mayweather, listen up.
Will, was that harsh truth? Just truth? What are you feeling?
I mean, yeah, it was harsh truth, but coming from somebody the caliber of the national treasure Nick Aldis, you got to listen to it. And I think Nick was feeling the weight on his shoulders of being so close with Anthony Mayweather and needing to say that to him. I respected his desire to say it to his face. If you watch the beginning of that segment, it's just Nick, and he calls Anthony out there. He says, "I'm going to say this to his face." I respect that. And yeah, it was harsh, but I definitely think it was much needed. I mean, I think you're right, Rob. I think that Anthony is a guy that should be in all these conversations, and the fact that we haven't seen him with a title around his waist at all is a loss for him, because he's got the potential, he's got the ability, and so maybe this pep talk from the national treasure will be what he needs to kick him into gear.
Well said. And I guess the next thing I wanted to jump into is, obviously after something like that, we here at This is the NWA, we want to know a little bit more. You didn't hear Anthony Mayweather comment after that, and so it was a little disconcerting. I'm wondering where his head's at. I've been trying to reach out to him ever since that moment on Saturday, and he has ignored calls, texts, emails, everything. Shout out to our friend from Athens, Greece, by the way. Thank you for watching, and thanks for being a fan of the NWA. National Wrestling Alliance is worldwide. But anyway, back to the point, trying to reach out to Crimson, and he is just not responding. And then right before we went on the air here tonight, I did get a voicemail from Crimson, just directly to voicemail, and he left this message, and I saved it here so I could just share it with everyone.
Gary, hey, it's Mayweather. Wanted to give you a call and first off apologize for not returning your voicemails, not answering your calls, not returning your text messages. That's not like me, you know that. But hey, man, there's been a lot going on, and I can only assume you're calling and you're texting, you're trying to reach out because you, just like everybody else, watched NWA USA on Saturday and saw what Nick had to say. And I can tell you that, as cool as we are, you and I'm not interested in any formal media appearances just to explain to you or anyone else where my head is at. This is what I can tell you. You know, it's been a few sleepless nights that I've been reflecting on everything, my life, my career, everything since that moment. And at the end of the day, as embarrassing as that moment was, for my friend to call me out in front of the world to tell me I'm not good enough, I'm not getting it done, I'm not winning, I'm not closing. He was right. And that's a hard thing to accept. But here's the deal. I need to start fucking closing. I need to start winning. If I can't win, if I can't close, what good am I? What good am I to this promotion? What good am I to the NWA? What good am I to anybody? I got a solution. And here it is. What better place than Oak Grove, Kentucky? What better time than February 12th? And what better opponent to be across the ring from than the national champion, Chris Adonis? I'm putting that shit out there right now, Gary, and I need you to carry that to the masses. I know you got your show going on tonight, and I need you to tell the people. I need you to get it out there because that's what I want. That's what I need. I need to start fucking closing, and it starts with Adonis. Get it out there, man. Hit me back.
Wow.
Man, but first of all, you're terrible at bleeping out. like, there are words that caught in, and both of those. Look, I mean, I'm like over here, like, you know. But wow, what? That's what we just. That's what we just said.
Yep.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
I mean,
oh my gosh.
So shots fired. Yeah, Nani in the chat just mentioning bring the heat, Mayweather.
Yeah.
This is a big deal. Anthony Crimson Mayweather, shots fired. He wants Chris Adonis. I assume this has to do with, Adonis and Latimer obviously at ringside during that loss to Marche. He clearly can't go after Jack State at this point. So if he's got to go after somebody, wow, you just go right for the national champ.
I mean, is this a done deal? I mean, this is happening? Like, it's
we
tried and
haven't-
true, right?
It is tried and true. So if anybody could pull some strings, Anthony Mayweather, I guess, could. And lots of people in the chat just already saying how great of an addition this would be to the card. If they could make a national championship match happen in Oak Grove, Kentucky. Polka Dot Pam not thinking Mayweather's got what it takes to beat Adonis, but she's also.
Let me say. No, I'm with Polka Dot Pam. It's not, you get this, you got to build up to something. And we're talking about Chris Adonis, who is #1 contender to the world title. This is not a foregone conclusion. Just because you will, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. But I like the response from Mayweather. That's what I'm talking about. If you want to be back where you should be, that's who you got. You got to go against your Popes. You got to challenge your Murdochs. You got to challenge your Aldises. You got to challenge your Adonises. And I like this move. If this happens, this might be the match of the night for me.
Yeah, and I mean, not to get too far ahead here, the match isn't even official yet since that voicemail just happened earlier today. But I mean, if this match does happen, and you've got the track record in recent memory of Anthony Mayweather and this charge from Nick Aldis to be closing, to turn the ship around. I mean, is this a do or die situation for Anthony Mayweather? I mean, there's no moral victories in this situation, right? I mean, you don't go in there and then lose a national title match and keep going. I mean, to me, that's, again, I'm with you, Rob. I respect him coming out guns blazing and saying, you know what, this is what I need. But the cautious side of me is a little bit like, whoa, if this doesn't pan out for him, I mean, is this the nail in the coffin? You know what I mean?
That's a good point, because we're looking at a man. When you think about Crimson, You know, for so many years, especially in the Lightning One era, we've associated him with Jack Stane, the War Kings. You know, he's been dealing with injuries. We know he's in really good shape now. He had that really brutal match against Jack Stane at By Any Means Necessary in the cage. We know he's at the top of his game. So in one sense, you got to think, well, it's now is the time to pay him. Now's the time to demonstrate to the world that you're ready to run with the elite talent. And that means you've got to win the big matches. On the other side, I mean, we're talking about Chris Adonis. The hardest man to beat in wrestling is probably Nick Aldis. But I can't remember when I've seen Chris Adonis been beat either. So it's, you know, when you're getting back into the swing of things, you go in there. Are we all in on Chris Adonis? And if I lose, I'm walking away. I don't know that, but I like the move. I like that. There's a lot. That's a really good question, Will. I will tell you this. I'll say this. This right here is a prize fight. This right here is Rocky Balboa, Apollo Creed. That's what this is. And whatever the outcome is, I don't know what the aftermath means for either athletes, but I know that this is a big-time match with big-time implications for both guys. And wherever it lands, the next stop for both of them is the Pinnacle, Trevor Murdoch.
Now, I saw some question about in the chat if Adonis will actually defend, and I don't know. I don't know if this is up to him, if this is up to
that's the question,
board.
isn't it? I mean, yeah, this is tried and true, but last I checked, Mayweather is not on the board. He doesn't sign title matches, so it's a good point, Gary.
Yeah. Rush Freeman, shout out in the chat, everybody from the Ill Begotten. We talked about you a little bit earlier. The Ill Begotten or your fantasy editions this past week on NWA Powerrr.
But come on, man, don't be down, Gary. Come on now. They have a significant winning streak going on, whether they're using Freebird rules or not. Right now, Ill Begotten has got a winning streak going on, and you cannot take that away from them. Russ Freeman's playing that game. He's playing the mental game of chess right now, and he's winning.
I've never said anything. Never said anything.
You put your little spin on it, though. You're putting your little tinge on it. I heard you. Hit that music, Will.
No, listen. Was he not the one who just earlier when we talked about that matchup, who was the one who said like the quote unquote Ill Begotten?
Yeah,
that was
whatever. You. The quote unquote Ill Begotten. That's what it was. They were ill-begotten designees. Listen, I'm a school administrator. There it is. I'm a school administrator, but I can't always be everywhere. So from time to time, I gotta let someone else do my hair. That's when. No, you cut me up.
I gotta admit, I mean, you led strong with administrator being like in that first bar. So,
you got it. Then you got to come up with a rhyme. After
you set
that.
the bar too high, man. That's the first rule. The first rule of freestyling.
Administrator, do my her.
You set a low bar. That's the first rule of freestyle.
I will tell you right now, and ain't nobody in this business with better hair than Stinson, than Rush Freeman. Rush Freeman's got good hair. Maybe Alex Taylor. But Rush Freeman's rocking that hair. So well done, Rush Freeman. Ill Begotten. You got a good solid win streak going on. I think you got a lot in front of you.
Oh,
yeah.
How about Al saying Crimson needs to challenge Dr. Robert Stinson to take a spot on this as the NWA Weekly?
Hey,
I'd pay to see that match.
Look, get your head in the game.
Listen, Florinsky. Slavinsky, my bad. Slavinsky, come on now.
Well, we'll lay it down a little bit more for you right after this, but we have got a special match announcement that I can confirm is happening, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But first, let's talk a little bit. If you're not already aware of Oak Grove, Kentucky, then you should check out this thing.
Wrestling fans, join us Saturday, February 12th, as the National Wrestling Alliance returns to Oak Grove, Kentucky for a special edition taping of NWA Powerrr that we're calling NWA Powerrr Trip. Scheduled to appear are NWA World's Heavyweight Champion Trevor Murdoch, NWA World's Women's Champion Camille, the National Treasure Nick Aldis, Tom Latimer, Smiley Kylie Ray, and many more. For tickets, visit NWATix.com. That's NWATIX.com.
I was just going to pop back in and go straight to the placard for Power Trip, but I wanted you all to see what these guys do to me. It's just me and Petra now. It's just Petra and I are hosting this show, and it's really good. Petra, you're doing great on the as DJ for the show. Thanks for being here. And anyway, NWA Power Trip, Saturday, February 12th, 2022, Valor Hall. We're coming back. Oak Grove, Kentucky. If you missed By Any Means Necessary, who's short I'm sporting tonight, then you missed a heck of a show, but you can still catch Power Trip. Tickets are available at NWATix.com. Go sign up there, get your tickets, or just wait for it and hope you can see it on NWA All Access or something, which might be a possibility if you haven't already signed up for that. At that show, you're going to get to see awesome stuff like Chelsea Green is going to be there taking on Smiley Kylie Ray, two of the top women's wrestlers in the business right now, going one-on-one at Valor Hall in Oak Grove, Kentucky. You're also going to be able to check out Idlemania Sports Management in conjunction with Church's Money Enterprise on the ill-begotten Rush Freeman in here bragging about that winning streak. Will it continue? I don't know. We're going to find out because Alex Taylor and Rush Freeman from the ill-begotten are going to be there. But, of course, they might not take all of the blame if they lose because they are teaming up with Scion and Big Strong Mims. You want to talk about a powerhouse match. Look at that. I mean, that is – there's going to be a lot of meat in the ring on that night.
That was good, man. Sorry, I didn't realize I was unmuted. Sorry.
Anyway, so also we've got a big matchup with Colby Carino and Rhett Titus. We talk about this all the time. One of the things about Oak Grove is they always give you that grudge match you didn't even know you needed until you saw it on the graphic. Colby Carino, Rhett Titus, 2 out of 3 falls at NWA Power Trip. That's going to be huge. I cannot wait to see that matchup. And then you also get the Women's World Championship defended as Camille, the Brickhouse, defends that title against Taryn Terrell. Now, a lot of people say in a straight on-paper matchup, these two face-to-face might not seem like much, but if you know anything, you know the mind of Taryn Terrell is not one to be messed with. She, of course, if you saw Power this past week, with Genocide, Paola in her corner, she is devious, and I don't know, Doc would probably argue with me using that word, but I'm just saying she is nothing to be taken lightly.
No. She's a chess player. We know Taryn Terrell is a legend. She's a distinguished competitor in the ring. She can go with the best. I really want to see this match be a solid match. This right here is it's a prize fight. That's what we've been talking about, prize fights a lot. Like that's what we believe in. That's what the NWA is all about. And now, do I think Taryn walks out this? I mean, if she can get in Camille's head, maybe there's a chance. But this is a legitimate contest against two. I'm talking about world-class competitors, and we've not seen Terrell in a minute. I mean, we saw her in the socially distanced match, which a lot of people didn't like, and this and that, but there ain't going to be no socially distancing from Camille. Camille is no respecter of rules. She don't respect any parameters, including the Omicron virus. She's going to go after Taryn Terrell, and let's see what happens here, because it's going to be a serious match. But do not be a sleeper on Taryn Terrell.
That's well said, Jedi Warrior pointing out Taryn. I thought Kiera Hogan was the number 1 contender. That's well said, Jedi. And it turns out that Kiera is the number 1 contender. So
That's right.
This is all under the assumption that Camille is the world's champion at that time. Taryn Terrell is getting a world's title match for the Burke, but who's that going to be against? Well, if that match with Kiera takes place before, I guess we're going to find out.
And let me say this too. Let's say Taryn walks in against Camille and Kiera Hogan is still the number one contender. If Taryn Terrell beats Camille, guess who's still the number one contender? Kiera Hogan. So then it would be presumably Kiera Hogan against Taryn Terrell rather than Kiera. I mean, that's the thing. Kiera Hogan earned that number one contender position. So she's got that. Regardless of who's the champion, the next in line presumably is Kiera Hogan.
All right. Well, that's not the only
Birthday
matchups.
cake. That's right.
That's right. Tell them, Petra. Also, at that show, we had a huge announcement this past week. You're going to get to see Nick Aldis take on Tom Latimer in an I Quit match. Now, if you were watching this show, which you always should be on Mondays, last week, Tom Latimer was our special guest on the show, and he issued that challenge. It was accepted by Nick Aldis. It has been sanctioned by the board of the National Wrestling Alliance. Nick Aldis, Tom Latimer, I Quit. What? I mean, what? Who walks out of this one? I just got to know. Any predictions on that, guys?
Oh man.
Gosh, man, this is a match that, man, I don't.
Yeah, Petra's like, I don't even know.
She's
what
like,
She
I'm
said
done.
she quit.
I don't know.
I'm out. She said I'm out.
She said I quit.
So, yeah, no, man, this is a dangerous match, and I don't like this sanction because I've never been a fan of the I Quit match because this is about hurting somebody. I don't want to see somebody get hurt, and I just don't see either one of these men quitting. So what we could wind up with is two of the most talented, most distinguished, biggest stars in the game ending their careers on this night, and I don't like it because I think that Tom Latimer has got a lot ahead of him. And I think, again, just like we said about Trevor Murdoch, letting your emotions get to you. I don't like the sanction, and I don't like the fact that William Patrick Corgan is going to let this happen. And you know what? I think William Patrick Corgan wants this to happen because I think he doesn't like Tom Latimer, and there's still a part of him that wants to get back at Nick Aldis. And so, I don't know. I just it scares me.
Do you think this is win-win for William Patrick Corgan?
I mean, it theoretically, it could be. It really could be. It's a good point, Gary.
I mean, I was just.
I like that you made that. I like that you said that.
Chop out that audio.
Checkmate.
This is another one of those matches for me that it's like what we were just talking about with Mayweather and Chris Adonis is like there's no moral victories in an I Quit match. I mean, that is a definitive finish. You don't.
Yeah, it's a blood feud, man. It's a blood feud right here.
And so, I mean, regardless of who wins, and it's so tough. I mean, Gary, you asked for predictions. I can't make a prediction. I think I'm going to quit before the two of them during that match. So I have no idea how it's going to go. But whichever way it goes, I mean, it feels definitive to me. It feels like the punctuation mark on the end of this feud, this friendship, this is
Will going back to what you said earlier about Adonis and Mayweather. Is this a career ender? Does this right here, is this an all-in match? Does Tom Latimer, if he doesn't walk away winning this match, is he done? That's a bigger question.
I mean, from an ego standpoint, you got, I mean, because he took the L at Hard Times 2 to Nick Aldis. That was not satisfying to him, as we heard last week. And he's still thinking about it. He thinks this is far from over. And then you issue a challenge for an I Quit match. And I'm not saying this is my prediction by any means, but if Tom Latimer were the one to utter the words I quit in this match, I just don't see how you come back from that, and how you show your face around, and how you try to act, as if nothing happened. I mean, that's such a big deal. This is a feud that's been such a big deal over the past, 6 months or so, just brewing ever since St. Louis, ever since NWA 73, since the title change, and since the disintegration of the original iteration of Strictly Business and Nick Aldis being at the head of it. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of questions.
And then turn to flip the script. How does, I mean, to me, it's like, if this match happens And if Nick Aldis is the one that says I quit, this is a man who is the master of the Kingsland Cloverleaf. He's made a career on making people submit.
Yep.
What if he submits? How does that shape? We've seen it. We know Mickey James is going to be in the Royal Rumble. People have been speculating who's else going to be. Is Nick Aldis going to be in there? Is he going to show up on AEW? Is he going to show up on Impact? Nick Aldis is one of the most consequential figures in the world right now. In the world. This guy is like, I'm talking about, and I don't want to overstate the case, but I'm talking about right now, Nick Aldis is like Muhammad Ali important when it comes to the sport of professional wrestling. He is that important. If he says, I quit, does he ever recover from that?
Well, and we've talked about it, ever since NWA 73 again, I mean, he's kind of put the world's title in the back of his mind, but it never goes away. I mean, once you're the champ and once you're the champ, the caliber that Nick Aldis was, that's always on his to-do list to revisit that. And if you say I quit in a match against Tom Latimer, how do you get back on track for something like that? So that's the thoughts that are in my head too.
Well, it's going to be a huge matchup. I think everybody sees that. And another big matchup that I can confirm tonight, we're still going to have to wait for a word on that situation with Anthony Mayweather. If you missed out on there, he just dropped us a message that he is looking to take on Chris Adonis for the national title. I can't confirm anything officially there, but I can tell you this: another big tag match was signed for Oak Grove, Kentucky, and that is going to be the OGK are returning to Oak Grove, and they're going to be taking on the Fixers. Now, this is somewhat of a rematch, I guess, from the last show at Valor Hall, at By Any Means Necessary, when the OGK first showed up in the NWA. It surprised the Fixers, and of course, the Fixers maintain that that's the only reason the OGK ended up walking away with the W in that matchup. Well, they're going to get a chance to prove that, because this is signed and sealed. This is happening on February the 12th. So you don't want to miss this. They're aware. They know who they're stepping in the ring with. That goes for both teams. Can the OGK do it twice in a row? Can they beat the Fixers again?
Well, Gary, let's not gloss over the fine print on this graphic that you have on the screen. It says, if I'm not mistaken, no DQ, falls count anywhere, Kentucky Sweethearts Brawl. And this is 4 men that I would never envision in a match with the word sweetheart in it. But here we are, no DQ, falls count anywhere. And you mentioned the OGK making their debut in Oak Grove. The Fixers also made their debut in Oak Grove. They came out with Colby Carino, and that was the first time that we got to see the Fixers. And so these are two teams that, Oak Grove has a special place in their history as it pertains to the NWA, and both of them have a lot to prove. We talk about the tag team division all the time being stacked. This is just an example of that. You got these two teams, you got to put them in a match. You got to make it, a match that is going to mean something. So you make it no DQ, falls count anywhere. This is I feel like a broken record, but every match we talk about at Power Trip in Oak Grove, Kentucky is a big, big deal. And this is no exception to that.
That's good, man. And well done, Will. Your research there. I like that tie-in to the fact that both of these teams made their debut in Oak Grove, their NWA debuts at Oak Grove, Kentucky at By Any Means Necessary. And so it's like everything's come full circle on this. It's a good point, man. Cause I knew that, but I wasn't thinking that at this point. I'm like, dang, that's some doggone M. Night Shyamalan stuff you just did on that, man. That's pretty good. But then, like, I'm like,
drop that music, Will. No,
drop that music, baby. Yeah. So it's like, but then you throw in that Kentucky Sweetheart stipulation. We're going to be in Kentucky. So what does that mean? I don't know. I've been on the Alta Vista. I've been on the AOL.com trying to find out what that Lycos.com trying to find out what that stipulation is. And I'm like, does it involve Kentucky bourbon? Because the last match that I know that involved Kentucky bourbon was the Doc and Gary Horne.
And that was also in Oak Grove, Kentucky.
That was Oak Grove, Kentucky. So I'm wondering, like,
we'll start deposit on that Airbnb.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't have wrote. No, that's not why we lost our deposit. We lost our deposit because you wrote in the guest book, coming here to recover from COVID.
Great choice.
Oh man, we get into it. Yeah,
That's gonna be. I like that, man. OGK and the Fixers, though. Real
Yeah.
talk, man.
Yeah.
That match right there. I'm with it, man. I want to see these two big guys versus these two, fast, technically skilled athletes that can fly all over the place. I want to see how this turns out.
Let me toss out another question to you, Rob, because you're the rankings guy, and I know we're going to get to the rankings here in a couple of minutes. But these are our two tag teams in the midst of a very stacked tag team division in the National Wrestling Alliance. But with a match with stakes this high, we're talking no DQ, we're talking falls count anywhere, we're talking teams the caliber of the OGK and the Fixers. Whoever comes out as the winners, who comes out victorious in this match, do you have to put them in the title contention picture?
Yeah, you really do. You really do. And here's why, Will. It's a good question. Here's why, because you're looking at the OGK. They've held PWI recognized World Tag Team Championships in Ring of Honor. They've had that. They've been there to the top. The Fixers have not done that yet, but who did we see beat? Yeah, they were technically hires by the ill-begotten, but they beat the Dirty Sexy Boys. And that right now, like we said earlier, that's a tag team that's a big-time tag team just by the nature of the case, just because you got athletes of the caliber of JTG and Dirty Dango in it right there. That right there puts them on the map.
Well,
now,
to me, the OGK puts them in that position. If they come out of this with a win over OGK, that automatically catapults them into that conversation.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So you've already seen them. We know that the Fixers can go. Right. We know that they can go with big time talent. If they beat a world-class caliber tag team. Now we're relatively, we've done our research. We know the history of the OGK. We know what they've accomplished. We know they're right now, they're on the map as one of the elite tag teams in the world. OGK, they're there already. The Fixers have shown that they can hang when they beat Dirty Sexy Boys. If they beat OGK, yes, absolutely. Yeah. They're in the top 5, no doubt.
I'm with you.
Yeah, and Patrick echoing that sentiment, just saying they're former IWGP Tag Team Champions. They are legit. If Fixers win, they deserve a title shot. So, yeah, that's Anyway, Roy did also predicting Doc versus Gary 2 out of 3 Oak Grove whiskey.
Nah, that was 5 out of 7, and then it went to like 7 out of 12.
I went to bed, and you guys were still having falls. So I don't know how many.
When Will woke up the next morning, he found me and Gary spooning on the floor, not hardwood floors, with ridiculousness on, and a bunch of like pretzel peanut butter bites.
With a circle around you, the candle.
Just for anybody who doesn't know, that's every trip we take with the NWA now. The one thing that has to be as part of our rider is we get peanut butter pretzel bites. That's it has to be there. You heard him certified. He said,
well, there was pillows between us certified. We weren't all. I wasn't. Let me lick you up and down till you say stop. Hey, earmuffs right here. It wasn't like that. There was a pillow between us.
You just broke the illusion for front row that you have energy drinks in your flask.
Yeah.
That was playing.
Me and Doc spooning, staring at the mooning. We're trying to get down.
While we're trying to spoon it.
We just lost 10 viewers. All right, back on track.
Anyway,
sorry.
Chris ready for Matt Cardona to get that NWA title. Chris, come on. Oh, we had a whole argument about this earlier.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'll tell you what. One thing we got to get to that people are ready. John Gott said a pillow named Will.
He cracked. Will John Gott just cracked the Da Vinci Code. Well done.
Oh, get him, Dan Brown.
Well, all right, I am a softie.
So anyway, one thing we got to talk about that people are going to kill us if we don't talk about was that NWA USA, a new development in the NWA World's Junior Heavyweight Title Tournament. Gary Horne,
yes,
getting that big victory over Jamie Stanley. That dude takes the L, and Gary Horne advances. And look at that. He is going to be taking on Colby Carino in the second round of that tournament. And Austin Aries, Luke Hawks, that's a big one. Homicide already in the finals there. And Arya Davari still waiting to find out who he's going to be taking on when Darius Lockhart takes on Sal Renaro coming up. So this is developing big time. This cruiserweight, or not cruiserweight, NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship tournament is something else. I am pretty excited about it. Now, I will say this. I did manage to get a video from Kerry when we were there right after the win, and here's what he had to say.
Georgia Public Broadcasting, the NWA is here, and we're loud and proud. I, for one, am so excited to be here. The nerves are out. The first match is over, and now it's time to make a statement within the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is Gary Horne, for those that don't know. I'm a third-generation wrestler, grandson of Paul Morton, son of Ricky Morton, and now myself, Gary Horne. It's all about making a statement here in the NWA, and that's what I did tonight. So round one's down. Now it's on to the next. Wish me luck, guys. I'll catch you out there soon.
He seems like a nice young man.
Yeah. You know, it's one of those things, man. Like, he's the nicest guy ever. And then, you know, I love that he every time, and he said this to us multiple times, like, yeah, you know, I'm the son of Ricky Morton. And we're like, yeah, we know. We know who you are. Like, you know, he's just so, it's ironic because he was fighting Jamie Stanley, but he truly is the humblest guy in the locker room. I mean, he's been trained by an NWA legend like his dad, but super humble. And I was stoked to see him get the victory in that match and move on in the tournament. I think he's deserving of it. And I can't wait to see what he's got, you know, moving forward.
Now, I will say this, you know, Nani McPawney in the chat pointing out, saying unpopular opinion. She felt like Stanley should have taken that match. She thought Jimmy Stanley had it.
That's the point. He should have, but he didn't. So that made it a little more impactful, in my opinion.
And Doc, I know that you have some pretty strong feelings about Kerry Morton as well. Like, you know, I mentioned he seems like a nice fella. You told me while we were there in Atlanta one thing you felt he lacked.
Yeah, I think he lacks the killer instinct, man. I think he's a nice guy. I like him. I like him. What's not to like about him? And does he have talent? Yeah, he's got the cross-pollination of a blue blood. I mean, he's the son of one of the greats of all time. He is the grandson of a legend. He is not a second generation, but a third generation wrestler. He's been steeped in this. He's been bred in this. And, you know, and it's borne out. I mean, we saw him go the distance in the gauntlet. He didn't win the gauntlet, but he went the distance. And he won a big-time match against Jamie Stanley. No excuses. He won it. Now, I'm not going to sit here and try to put a spin on or anything. I'm just talking about, when we're talking about the NWA World's Junior Heavyweight Championship, what separates the lions from the sheep? There's a lot of sheep in this business that are talented, but they lack that intensity, that drive that says, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to go to all costs. I'm going to wreck everything. I'm going to sacrifice family. What is Kerry Morton relying on right now? Family. He's always talking about that second generation, third generation superstar. I'm going to sacrifice family. I'm going to sacrifice body. I'm going to sacrifice time, jobs, privilege, position, everything to get to that thing. That's what it takes to be the best in the prize fighting industry, in the combat sports industry. That is intensity and ruthlessness. And that, I think, is going to be the Achilles heel in this very, very fine young man. This is a guy who's an honor student. He studies music and drama and all this. We talked about Broadway. My daughter Piper loves Broadway, and Kerry Morton has done Broadway productions. He's a talented guy. He's an athletic guy. The guy is physical, man. We talked, man. We freaking arm wrestled. I didn't even stand. I was like, bam. Like, it's like, not that means anything, because I'm not worth anything in arm wrestling. Petra could probably take me. But the point is, Kerry's got all the physical genetic qualities. He's got the DNA to do it, but he's lacking something, man. The guy, I just listened to that interview. That's not what you say when you're gunning for championships. You say, look, I'm Kerry Morton. I don't care who my dad is. That's what Colby Carino says. I'm not going to be Steve Carino's son. He's going to be Colby Carino's dad. I'm not Ricky Morton's son. Ricky Morton is the father of Kerry Morton. I'm not banking on any of that. Right now, I'm the one that's going to the top. I don't care what it takes. I'm going to run through everybody. I'm going to crawl, scratch, bleed, whatever it takes to win those championships. I'm going to do it. But I just don't feel that Kerry Morton has that killer instinct. And I think that right there is going to be his Achilles heel. That is the weakness that's going to ultimately going to be his undoing unless it changes fast.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there, Doc. But I will say if he maintains the demeanor that he has now and the humility and goes on to win this tournament, I think that's a big statement in that direction. So, yeah, I mean, I could see that being his undoing at some point. But at where we stand right now, he's advanced in this tournament, and so more power to him.
Yeah, I mean, I listen to a guy like Kerry, and he reminds me of watching Ricky Morton. Like, I mean, that attitude is exactly the kind of attitude that his father had. He was, people called him the ultimate babyface. He was just a nice guy, but he was good. He was athletic. He was talented. And
that's adorable, Gary. Let me tell you, when did Ricky Morton win the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship? Because he had opportunities. When did he do that? No. Listen, the World's Heavyweight Championship. When did he win the World's Junior Heavyweight Championship? When did he do that? Because
last time I checked, the World's Heavyweight Championship.
I'm not a wrestler. I'm not a wrestler. And guess what? I definitely don't have a tag
How many people get to say they were World's Heavyweight Champion?
That doesn't
mean
that's my point, Gary.
I say Kerry Morton. You know exactly who I'm talking about.
No, you're talking about Ricky Morton was a good guy. Ricky Morton was a great guy, and he had Robert Gibson by his side to help carry his weight. You didn't hear Robert Gibson out there saying, "Oh yeah, we're gonna blah 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 blah." Robert Gibson was the man who sealed the deal in the Rock and Roll Express. Ricky Morton he had the chance to win the World Championship.
This is so painful for me.
He had the chance to win the junior, but he never did it. Kerry Morton doesn't have a tag team partner. You know, he's got Ricky Morton outside clapping those hands. But in prize fighting, Ricky Morton ain't going to be in there with him when he takes on a Colby Carino. He ain't going to be in there when he takes on a Homicide. He ain't going to be there. It's going to be
I'm sitting here talking to you, and you're acting like the man didn't just, like he was the final guy in the gauntlet at Hard Times 2, right in there against Homicide. He also, Kerry Morton, the guy who's too nice to do anything, he just advanced to the second round of the junior heavyweight title tournament. So what are you talking about? This guy, I mean, he apparently has enough of something to get him advancing in this tournament.
He's got enough to get far, but does he have enough to get all the way? That's what I'm saying.
TBD. Obviously, it's TBD.
It's TBD. Yeah, that's my point. We're debating. We're debating what he has. Does he have the medal? And I'm gonna tell you right now, as a prognosticator, because that's all we are. This is basically Sports Center.
I'm not gonna confirm or deny that.
I don't know what that word means, so I'm gonna sit this argument out. I don't have time to Google that right now. Look, I get exactly what you're saying, but I will say this, and this is the only point I'll make about this, is that you've got a guy who is confident, cocky even, charismatic, America's jawline, and he has not advanced in this tournament. That dude has not advanced, and you've got Kerry Morton who has advanced in this tournament. So while I get your point, I get what you're saying, and I think at the time, when Kerry Morton's name disappears from this list, we can have this conversation. But as of today, right now, after NWA USA this past Saturday at noon, Kerry Morton is advancing, and he has got a lot to be proud of. He's got a lot to brag about. So
okay, I hear you. But look at this bracket. Now put it back up. I'm not done. Put it back up. Put the bracket up. Okay, look at this bracket. Now you're looking at Jamie Stanley. I like Jamie Stanley. Jamie Stanley is going far. He's got something that a lot of people don't have. He's got ruthlessness mixed with humility. But then you look at this bracket. Look at Austin Aries, Luke Hawks, Colby Carino, Aria Daivari. Every single one of them have more experience than Kerry Morton. Every single one of them. And not to mention Sal Renaro and Darius Lockhart. Every single one of them have more experience. And guess what? with the new recent change in Sal Rinaro's philosophy, every single one of them, Austin Aries, Luke Hawx, Kobe Carino, Ariya Daivari, Sal Rinauro, Darius Lockhart, and Homicide, all of them have that factor that Kerry Morton lacks, and that is the killer instinct. Kerry Morton right now is a lamb waiting for the slaughter in this tournament. I promise you. I'm just saying, yeah, he's got talent. He's got ability. He's got the pedigree. He's going to go far. He's going to do great things, man. He's going to do great things. He's going to win this most inspirational wrestler of the year, most popular heartthrob of the year. But do you really think, are you telling me that this is the guy who's going to take down Austin Aries or Luke Hawx or Kobe Carino or Homicide? Are you telling me that? You got to be kidding me.
Talking about all this other mess, and all I'm seeing right now is I'm seeing this tournament started off with 13 names, and by the end of that Darius Lockhart Sal Rinauro match, it's going to be down to 7. One of those names is Kerry Morton. He's already gotten that far, and you're just discounting him like he doesn't have what it takes.
10 years from now, Gary, when we're sitting here doing the today in NWA history, who's going to remember the top 7? Who's going to remember the top 7? They're not. They're going to remember the final man standing. Maybe the other man standing. That's what I'm
all these other names, I'd like to just get this on record. All these other names, they don't matter, is essentially.
I'm not saying that matter, but I'm going to tell you what they would say.
I just want you to get,
I'm going to tell you right now. Put me on record. Quote me right now. I'm going to tell you, Austin Aries, Luke Hawx.
This is being recorded, so.
Yeah, record it. Austin Aries and Luke Hawx right now, they will tell you. They will come on the show and tell you, Gary, if I don't make it to that last match, yes, it didn't matter. That's what they'll say.
I don't know if that's true, man. I mean, Luke Hawx has already gone on record, him and PJ, talking about that matchup in the first round was the most important match of their career. And you can't just wipe that.
And now PJ Hawx. Now PJ Hawx is back there.
All I'm saying
for Dad.
All I'm saying, and not to fixate on that bracket, but it's a big deal, is that there's some names that did not advance in that bracket that I still think are potential to be huge stars in the NWA. And Kerry Morton actually did advance. So I think his potential is limitless.
I mean, not only that, well, you're sitting over here and Doc's like prognosticating himself over experience. And you got guys that didn't make the cut, like Rhett Titus, C.W. Anderson. You talk about all those guys. I mean, what do you want to talk about? I mean, Sal Rinauro might not make it to the next round. What's that going to tell you about?
Okay, let me tell you, who were, without Googling, put your phones down. The last Crockett Cup, who were the last 4 teams standing? Go now. Because I know the answer.
No, okay. Who was it?
No, Gary. This is for you. What's the answer? Look at you. No, do not open up that screen. I see what you're doing.
Doing anything.
That's my point, though. That's my point.
But you're talking about you're talking about one singular tournament. There's tons of tournaments. I mean, you talk about legendary teams like the Rock and Roll Express, and you made your point about them and whatever. I totally disagree with that, but you don't know every match they've ever been in to get to where they are. And if Kerry Morton goes 2 or 3 matches into this tournament and establishes himself as not just the new kid, as somebody who can actually win matches, that's something he can build off of in the future. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, he does. No, I'm with you. If he can do that, great. But at the end of the day, this isn't just a physical exercise, Will, Gary. This is prize fighting. And what does prize fighting mean? It means you fight for prizes. You fight for prizes. Everybody who's in this business, this sport, I hate calling it business. I call it a sport. Everybody who's in this sport dreams of putting that championship gold around their waist, whether it be the Burke, whether it be the TV titles, whether it be the national championship, whether it be the world's heavyweight championship. That's the goal. And if you don't think that you have a reasonable chance of getting there, then you wouldn't be here. Every single one of them thinks they have a reasonable chance. And Kerry thinks he has. And I'm going to tell you, Kerry has a reasonable chance. He does have a reasonable chance.
You've been arguing about for the past
he has a reasonable chance. Okay. But ultimately, he will not win this if he does not find that killer instinct, if he does not find that inner monster that's going to put him over the top, that's going to put him over Austin Aries or Homicide, because I'm going to tell you right now, all roads in this championship lead through Homicide. And I cannot imagine a situation where Kerry Morton, I'm so happy to be here, guys, gets one over on Homicide. I can't imagine that. Can you? Are you going to sit there and look at Homicide and say, hey, this guy?
That's what makes this sport so fun, man.
That is. And what if that's all just part of that?
Because I'll be honest,
that you always talk about.
This is where I'm coming from. And I'll be honest with you, and this is no shade on Kerry Morton, but when I saw, him and Jamie Stanley were going to go at it, I had the same foregone conclusion in my head that you just mentioned about him and Homicide. I was like, oh, Jamie Stanley's more experienced. He's cocky. He's got an attitude. Kerry Morton's a nice guy. Jamie Stanley's going to get one over. And that's not what happened. So all I'm saying is this is a sport where surprises happen all the time. If he can build on surprise after surprise after surprise, then, we're having another conversation.
I'm going to tell you,
in a few
man,
weeks from now.
if Kerry Morton ends up going all the way to the end, whatever, to this 4-way, and if he somehow manages to win this thing, I will print out a copy of the script of this entire show. We've been going for an hour and a half now, and I will eat it. I will eat it.
Nobody wants that.
Yeah, I don't.
That's not a good promo. That's not.
You got it. You have to be.
I'll retract the promise.
If that happens, you have to be Big Spoon next Kentucky trip.
All right. Well, all of these things that Doc has said about Kerry Morton, I will give him this, even despite his beliefs about what the young third generation star is going to do in this week's Doc's rankings. He did add Kerry Morton to the list.
I did.
He's objective. We'll give him that.
Yeah, I added him to the list. Why? Because who was number 5 last week, Will? You remember?
Aria Davari.
And who did Aria Davari beat? Jay Spade.
Jay Spade, yeah.
I feel like right now, and this is no shade on Jay Spade, but right now, I've been highly, highly impressed with Jamie Stanley.
Yep.
Kerry Morton got the clean win over Jamie Stanley. I think that's a bigger win than Davari over Jay Spade. And therefore, I'm going to put Kerry Morton right there in the number 5 rankings. He's number 5. You got that vacant spot right there. So actually, he's number 4. I just don't know. I see Homicide with intensity, fire, killer instinct. Austin Aries has that same instinct, and so does Colby Corino, without a doubt. I just think that's lacking a little bit in Kerry Morton.
Interesting. So if those of you who are listening and not seeing this, he's got at number 1, obviously, is the champ, but then who is vacant right this second?
That Joker's got lots of titles, man.
Yeah. Undefeated.
Never lost.
Number 2, Homicide. 3, Austin Aries. 4, Colby Corino. And then 5, Kerry Morton. So are we looking at potentially well, I mean, I think all 3 of these guys
still in the tournament.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, they're all a part of the same half of the bracket too. So
naturally,
this is going to change around pretty quickly since all of these folks can't advance past the second round. So it's going to be kind of interesting.
We're going to have a shakeup. We're going to have a shakeup.
Yeah, especially once we see how the Darius Lockhart Sal Renaro match plays out, and then we get that second round of advancements into the finals. All that's going to shake up.
Can't imagine much has changed on the women's tag team title rankings. These not much women's tag team action here recently. Still got the Hex at number 1, Smiley Dragons, Genocide and Pale Blaze, Colin King and Red Velvet, and Natalia Markova and Missa Kate.
I think the story here, Gary, is that we're pretty solid with the fact that right now the 2 most consequential tag teams, given Genocide and Paula Blaze's drama, the 2 most consequential tag teams in the women's division are the Hex and Smiley Dragons, and we got to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
All right, and then of course we've got to look at the men's tag team division. La Rebellion is still sitting up at number 1. Then you've got the End, Stevens and Kratos at number 3, the OGK at number 4, and Hawks Airy coming in at number 5. Beautiful there. You have to give them that, I think, after that big win this past week on Powerrr.
Yep.
Man, this right here, and then you look at here's what tells the tale about this top 5 is look at the teams that aren't in it.
Yeah,
Dirty Sexy Boys, the Fixers, doggone the
Rude
ill-begotten, the rude dudes. I mean, this right here, this division cannot be contested anywhere in the world. That's how good La Rebellion are, by the way.
Yep.
Well said. Well said. All right. And then moving into the women's division, we're looking, of course, the number one is going to be Camille, just an unstoppable force in the National Wrestling Alliance so far. Number two, the number one contender, Kiera Hogan. Number three, Melina. And number four, Kylie Ray. Number five, Genocide. Very interesting rankings there. Now, of course, we already mentioned it. If you're going to be at Power Trip at Oak Grove, Kentucky, you're going to get to see Tara Terrell go ahead and get a shot there. She's not even listed here, so it shows you how deep the women's division is too. I would say.
Again, you look at the girls that are not, or the women that are not in this. You're looking at Kinsey Page, that by all accounts could be in this thing. You've got Maddie Rinkowski, who meant that. You got Lady Frost. You got Tootie Lynn. You've got. I mean, this is another intensely stacked division. Intensely stacked.
That is that's my username on
that's your hit that music wheel.
It's too far away.
Yeah. All right. We're running out of time. Let's keep moving through this. And the men's division, number one, Trevor Murdoch. It's the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. Nay, the real World's Heavyweight Champion. Number two, Chris Adonis, the National Champion. Number three is Tyrus, the TV Champion. Number four is Nick Aldis. And at number five, Doc has Scion.
Yeah.
Interesting choice there.
And this is these rankings will be shaken up too, no doubt, especially as we head to Oak Grove, Kentucky for Power Trip, and some of the matches that are going to take place. If you got Nick Aldis and Tom Latimer, that could be a shake up there. You've got potentially Chris Adonis and Mayweather, as we heard about the challenge issued earlier. We don't know if that's official or not yet, but that could be a big shake up here in these men's rankings.
Yeah, and I just want to point out, number one on that ranking is Trevor Murdoch. As the GOAT Ric Flair used to say, I'm the owner, operator, and manipulator of this championship. Not Chris Adonis, who I think is well deserving, not Tyrus, not Nick Aldis, not Scion, and definitely not Matt Cardona. Although all of them are legitimate contenders. But Trevor, you are the champion. You should not be manipulated. You never saw one day in your life when you were chasing that title where you manipulated Nick Aldis. So don't let someone do it to you. That's my advice to you. And it's not worth anything other than just an educated man's opinion.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Doc's advice is not worth anything. So just keep that in mind as we roll through here. We're getting a lot of comments in the chat. Thanks, everybody, for being here. This is a big day. I know we're kind of running out of time. What one set of things we didn't mention, which I guess we'll throw to real quick while we got a little bit of time left, is the situation going on with May Valentine and Natalia Markova. I know Markova is pretty popular, and if you saw on Power, May Valentine had a chance to talk with Camille and even tried to enlist the assistance of her friend.
Joining me at this time is the NWA World's Women Champion, the Brick House herself, Camille.
Hello, May.
Camille, welcome to NWA USA. I'm so happy you're here, and I'd love to know if we can expect to see you in action.
In action, I'm just kind of monitoring for now, but if the moment presents itself, hey, why not? I am a defending champion.
Okay. And Camille, since you're here, there's something personal that I have to ask you, if that's okay. Look, girl, I need your help. I really need your help. There's a new girl in the NWA by the name of Natalia Markova who's disrespecting me, the NWA, and even our staff. Can you please do something about it, Camille?
Look, May, even though we are just the best of friends, okay, I can't get involved in every little thing.
Please, just consider it. Camille, just consider it.
To see May Valentine reach out to Camille for assistance, and then they wouldn't stop there because I said Powerrr, but that was actually on USA. And then later in the episode, Natalia Markova had a match against Kenzie Page, and that match ended up having to be broken up by Tim Storm because the two just started wailing on each other. The referee had to call a no contest on that matchup due to the fact these two wouldn't let up and were using the closed fists and wouldn't answer the 5 count. And so nobody ends up with that victory. And then later on in the show, May Valentine is trying to talk to Marche Rocket and Black G's, and will this happen?
Please welcome the Church's Money, Black G's, joined by his client, Marche Rocket. G's, you must be very proud of your client. I mean, he just scored a really big win against Mayweather.
You know something, May? I'm extremely proud of Marche, but I'm not surprised. I mean, look at him all day. The most athletic dude in the National Wrestling Alliance. I would say that Marche is the next in line for a national heavyweight title. Yeah. But the thing is, that's what the Church's Money Enterprises is all about. That's what Idolmania Sports.
Understand what just happened. I'm not happy with the referee. I'm not happy with Tim Storm, and most definitely not happy with you.
What's going on? What is going on here? Hey! Oh my! Get the hell off my set! Get the hell off my set!
So pretty intense situation there. Kenzie Page and Natalia Markova's battle breaking out right in the middle of the interview set there. And and then May Valentine having a lot to say there. Not happy with Markova. Is she biting off more she can chew there? Should she just remain quiet? And I mean, what's going to happen? I mean, Markova's a vicious competitor. I don't know that May wants to step up that.
Yeah, no, I mean, she's definitely vicious. Yeah, you got that right. She's got the fighting spirit, which is what we do like to see in the NWA. Unfortunately, we also not unfortunately, but unfortunately for her, we also really value following the rules and conducting yourself in a manner that is in line with, what we talk about all the time, which is competitive rules and stuff like that. So, she seems to be really concerned with her own standing, and I get that. That's fine. But she's really wreaking havoc on a lot of stuff. And somebody like Kenzie Page, who we talked about at length on this show, she's had a couple of title shots for the Burke, very respected talent in the NWA, and going after her like that, and they can't even finish a match because it just got so brutal. And then busting in on an interview like that, I mean, I'm feeling the frustration from May Valentine because she's just trying to do her job, and she's just trying to get interviews with people and let us, the fans, hear their thoughts on certain things, and stuff like that happens. So I feel the frustration.
Yeah, I think a wrestler should come in and they should expect to face the top competition. They should be gunning for the top. So Markova should be gunning for the Burke that Camille holds, but they should also expect the journalists, the interviewers, to ask the pointed questions that the fans want to hear. I mean, this is a performance sport, and you're performing, competing before an audience of people that want answers. And May Valentine always asks the pointed questions, and she doesn't, I don't think, really ever cross the line. But Markova did cross the line. She should never put her hands on anybody. She definitely shouldn't disrespect May Valentine, who is a journalist and a top-notch journalist. Although I like Markova, and I think Markova, I like her killer instinct, and I want her to do well. But I'm going to tell you right now, if she's distracted by May Valentine, she ain't going to stand a chance against Camille.
Well said, Doc. All right. Well, I know we've gone on long enough. Thank you guys for being here with us. Let's do a little preview real quick. Tomorrow night is NWA Powerrr Surge. And I know everybody's going to miss Powerrr. They always do. But Powerrr Surge is going to be lit. And I'll tell you this much about it. It's going to be an interesting episode. Probably the weirdest episode of Powerrr Surge you've ever seen. It's an episode completely, if my notes are right here, it is completely produced, directed, and starring the Fixers. It is a Meet the Fixers episode of NWA Powerrr Surge. So they've edited and put together this episode. What they are promising tomorrow night for those that are interested, let's let's see here. I've got a couple of the images. You'll get a replay if you missed it at Hard Times 2. Austin Aries versus Rhett Titus. That matchup, the first matchup to qualify for the junior heavyweight championship tournament, is right there. And that's going to be a big one. If you missed that match, it was an amazing matchup. Our boy in the chat, Front Row, ended up catching one of the competitors at one point when he was in the front row. And so that was a pretty big deal. Also, Rodney Mack is going to be in action on this episode. We mentioned that a little bit earlier in the show. That's going to be awesome. Good to see Mack in the ring and taking part of the competition in the National Wrestling Alliance. You're also going to see Kylie Ray versus Maddie Rinkowski. Mentioned that one earlier as well. And I promise you, I remember this match. These two go at it. Two of the top most, I don't want to say underrated. I think people know how good they are, but Maddie and Kylie are just fantastic competitors. And I can't wait for everybody to see these two go face to face in the ring. And then finally, the Fixers, of course, since it's their episode, will be in action against Miguel Robles and Fable Jake. Miggs and Jake there got a big task on their hand when they step in the ring with the Fixers. And if I understand correctly, this is going to be an empty arena matchup as well. And so we're going to, we'll see. We'll see how these two gentlemen fare.
I just want to also acknowledge, while this graphic is still up, it does appear that the Fixers also created these graphics, because I cannot fathom the NWA graphic design team using Comic Sans as a font. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there. If you see this, I think they've given the Fixers a lot of leeway here.
The Fixers are like, yeah, hey, Wrecking Ball, this look good, don't it? Yeah,
I think they made these graphics in PowerPoint, maybe. So
that's good. Yeah, I think you're right, man.
So a interesting episode for sure in store tomorrow night. If you've got NWA All Access, you're going to be able to see it before anybody else on Fight TV. You want to make sure to catch that one. If not, of course, it'll be available on YouTube on Friday at 6:05. Either way, we hope you watch and hope you tune in to NWA USA on Saturday at noon, and then us again on Monday. We'll talk about everything that happened. Of course, we're always available on the interwebs. At any point, you see our names there. We're also at TIPW Show. And thank you so much, Delmer Jr., Jedi Warrior, Front Row, Nani, Caps, NWA PowerPoint. Oh my God, Caps! I wish we should definitely. I'm going to run that up the ladder. NWA PowerPoint. Yeah, and Scott saying this episode sounds odd. That is an understatement.
Tune in and find out.
Yeah, it is going to be odd. I promise you. It's going to be the weirdest episode of Power Surge you've ever seen. So, all right. Well, thank you again, everybody, for hanging out with us. Make sure to check out, I didn't mention LegacySups.com. I want to give her.
Yeah. I got my, I got it right here. This is my recovery PM. I'm going to tell you right now. This is, this ain't candy. You got to get one of these. This right here is a sleeping supplement. So she about to get about 4 or 5 of these. You only need, but this right here is one of the many products, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it's the real deal. I'm naturally fit. I run. I'm active. I work out at least 4 times a week, but I run almost on a daily basis. One thing that I have trouble doing is sleeping at night. I called the champ. I was like, look, tell me about this recovery PM. Is that the real deal? He's like, look, Stinson, I don't really want to talk to you, but yeah, it's the real deal. And so I bought it, and you know what? He's not lying. This right here, recovery PM, sleeping aid, and I'm about to put two of these in right now here in about the next hour or so, and I'm gonna sleep soundly, wake up ready to approach the day tomorrow to watch NWA Power Surge tomorrow night.
I wish he had taken one about 2 hours ago. Anyway, but yeah, LegacySups.com. They got her legacy and the gentleman's side of things. You want to check those folks out. And for all of you guys, they've given you a special code. You can use the promo code NWA FAM or just NWA, and you get 10% off that order. So make sure to check that out. Who highlighted that?
Who is champion after Camille? Nobody, because nobody's taking down Camille.
Okay.
Good question, though.
All right. Well, thanks again, everybody, for real, Scott and Certified Trenda. Love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. It's been fun.
No,
Yeah,
Gary.
you too, Patrick.
We'll put on that smooth. That the
I'm
easy.
playing. Yeah,
Put on
I'm playing. Oh, you want me to play?
Put on that night train. Yeah. All right. Now talk us out here, Will.
All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in to this is the NWA Weekly.
Enjoy.
Yeah. You guys make sure to enjoy your gravy cake.